Well, here for reaction, Hoover Institute senior fellow Victor Davis Hanson, along with America First legal founder Stephen Miller, and Wall Street Journal columnist Kim Strassel. Kim, I want to start with you. I read your article. It's brilliant. As always, you're one of the best minds on this stuff. Verbalize for us how bad this bill is.
Well, you know, Jason, at least past despicable omnibuses were only just about spending on everything under the sun. But this just goes to show you what the natural and horrible limits are of this process when people disappear into back rooms. This time they decided to attach dozens of pieces of consequential legislation, stuff that they couldn't be bothered to get through during the year, and stick it on here. And now all of these guys can say, well, we had to vote for this bill because we had to prevent a shutdown. And they conduct the question of whether or not they would have voted for those individual pieces of legislation. Big stuff like retirement security, savings changes, and the Electoral Count Act and public lands management. I mean, where does anyone actually stand on any individual thing in this? We don't know. And they did that by design. They're doing that by design because they can just come up with a number, spend a ton of money, pass a bunch of stuff, and never have to take a vote on any of it.
Yeah, let's remember that I think it's more than 75% of what we spend in this country is mandatory programmatic spending. This is just the quote-unquote discretionary part of the budget. Don't think this is the total budget. Congress doesn't vote on the majority of the budget. But one of the things they do have to vote on, Stephen, is the border and the negligence that's happening on the border. We see it every day, at least only on Fox News you see it. But when you read and try to decipher what's in this bill, having had only hours to look at it, what's your read on what's happening here?
This is an unmitigated legislative atrocity. This is the worst spending bill in our lifetimes. It neuters border security. It guts immigration enforcement. It ties the hands of our border agents and our ICE officers from enforcing duly enacted law, and it does nothing to force Biden to end catch and release, even though in mere days, House Republicans would take over and, if given the chance, pass a provision on the spending bill ending catch and release and forcing Biden to deport illegal aliens. As we speak right now, an American patriot, Mike Lee, is fighting, desperately fighting, to get border security on this bill. But it doesn't just finance open borders. It finances critical race theory in the form of equity and anti-racism. It finances the radical gender ideology that is destroying the education and the welfare of our children. It finances one radical left-wing initiative after another, enmeshing Democrat priorities into every aspect of this government. And all we would need to stop this madness is a 2-week CR, a 2-week short-term bill, so that Kevin McCarthy and the House Republicans can stand up for this country. Instead, tonight we have the spectacle of people waving the flag of Ukraine while nobody in leadership in the Senate is standing up for the United States of America. Enough already.
Victor, I want to play this sound from Senator Tester from Montana. There are a lot of lame reasons to support this bill, but I want you to listen to what Senator Tester said.
It also sends a tremendous signal out to everybody in the world that we can actually function. If we would not, and by the way, this isn't passed yet, so I don't want to assume it will, but I think it will. If we don't pass this bill, it just sends a signal of weakness to the whole world.
Is that really the best reason that a senator has for voting for this bill?
That's about the lowest bar I've ever seen as far as standards go. I mean, if you do it in the middle of the night and during the holiday season in a lame duck Congress and it's 4,000 pages that nobody's read and you're supposed to be proud of that, that's going to send a different message than the senator thinks. But we live in la-la land, an alternate universe, Jason. We're $31 trillion in debt. And interest rates have gone up to about 4.5 on the federal debt. So just to service this debt, we're going to pay $450 billion, and it's going to increase up to $1 trillion at the rate we're going. So these $1.5 trillion deficits are just normal now, and nobody talks about it. And so there's nothing in that bill to address physical sobriety or the deficits. And then the three big issues that everybody was worried about, we've discussed, is the border, nothing there, in fact, negative attitudes toward the border, and then inflation, and it's going to make inflation worse. And then there's nothing about crime. There's no federal task force, no federal strategy about cartels, drugs, inner city crime, nothing. And then there's nothing about energy, because people can't afford to heat their homes. Gas is still high. There's nothing about new federal leases. There's nothing about offshore drilling. There's nothing about ANWR. There's nothing about nuclear power plants. So everything that's in it is bad, and everything that's good is not in it. And it's reckless. And it's at some point, somebody's going to say, my God, the country is going broke. It's unsustainable. We're printing money, and we've got to do some type of radical action. But I guess they think that we can keep borrowing for another 4 or 5 years until we go broke.
No, this is absolutely just ridiculous. And you know what? This is done on purpose. This is no accident that they suddenly get to the day before Christmas. They are purposely doing this. It was Senator Harry Reid, when he was the majority leader for the Democrats in the Senate, who said, oh, don't worry about it. You'll never lose an election. You'll never lose an election because of some process bill. But you know what? I just do not understand how any single Republican in the Senate could vote for this. If they are voting for this, I just have no idea how they can think they can call themselves a conservative or a Republican, when if they just wait for a few more days, they can get the cavalry coming over the hill to help on issues like Stephen points out, immigration and others. Stephen Miller, Victor Davis Hanson, Kim Strassel, thank you so much for joining us tonight on Hannity.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.